Hello everybody and welcome back live to the fan. Lots of big races coming up for you later. These guys right now, they are focused on trying to set the first lap and get a banker lap in as well with, laps taken at a minute and a half or so. They need to try and get themselves that banker lap as soon as possible because they're only going to have realistically maybe 6 or 7 attempts before the session draws to a close. With traffic always being an issue at Donington, they need to navigate as quick as they can, especially if you look at what's happening going towards that final corner now. It's not exactly looking too inviting on the track. You've got a line of about 4 or 5 cars all coming down there, and unfortunately for a few of them, they're all looking for good position as well. As Vijay crosses the line there from P9 and goes fastest. So Vijay there making a statement as he heads into Red Gate, the new pole sitter for this qualifying session. He's beaten everyone's time so far, except KKND, who just goes a little bit faster. And apologies for any technical difficulties we have at the moment. We are trying to work on it and get us to bring us the best broadcast we possibly can. And look at Vijay as well now, all tucked up behind WTTM1. Looks to the inside. Of course, these guys aren't racing for position. They don't need to get out of each other's way. There's no blue flags, and that's the consequence. If neither party's willing to let the other one through, you just end up in a bit of contact, and arguably, what could destroy a lap, that could be a good banker lap ruin there. So a quick run through of the order as we go into the final 6 minutes. And Devil Bevin is currently the fastest man on circuit at 1:30.346, a 1:31.1 from KKND. Then Vijay and Inganj in 3rd and 4th. It's Firefall and Crass that round out round 3 of the grid. And then in 8th place now, after just moving down, will be WTTN, then Clark 10 in 9th, the Zepaquenu in P9. Clark 10 down to 10th now, Giangi 76th in P11, Pash 23 in 12th, we've got Claman in 13th, and Dimitri, who's back again in 14th position. The winner of last race fancies chance at the A-Class race as well, and you know what, who can blame him? A big prize to play for. He wants to get as many opportunities as possible. Yeah, so we've got visual back now, I believe, so we can bring you some images from what's currently happening on the track at the moment as these BMWs fly around the circuit, creating some havoc indeed. And for local residents, there'll be some heavenly noises as these Z4 GT3 set the track alight, quite literally, with some of these lap times. Devil Bevin betters his time there, so he's now 6/10 up on Clark 10. It wasn't a big improvement, but an improvement nonetheless, and you can see he had a bit of a wiggle just coming out of Red Gate there, and that is going to cost him. That's not going to be a fastest time now. He's got 4 minutes to go, so he should still get at least another 2 laps in. But Firefall up to 2nd place now, the only other man to get inside the 1:30s at the moment, apart from Clark 10. And now KKND as well, so you've got the top 4 all inside the 1:30, then a 1:31.1 from Vijay. But the rest of the drivers still struggling at the moment. But that top 4 is looking extremely close, only 8/10 separating them. But that sounds like a lot. So let's take Devil Bevin out of the equation, and you're left with Firefall, Clark 10 and KKND separated by just over 1/10 of a second. Now that is a staggering statistic, and one which, if it carries over into the race, we're going to be in for a real treat. So 3 minutes 40 left in the session now, and the driver who's actually completed the most laps currently are the ones in the midfield. Clark, KKND, Inganj and Vijay have all done 4 laps, but our pole sitter currently has only done 3, with Firefall just behind him. So just proving that if you time the lap correctly, you've got enough track space out there. You can do great things as Devil Bevin crosses the line again, does not improve this time. As we say, has at least got another 2 laps up his sleeve yet. Goes into Red Gate for the 4th time in this qualifying session competitively. And catches a little bit of apex there as well, just to get himself some stability as he goes into the Craner corners once again. So devastatingly fast, these corners. They're so scary to go through. And for experience driving this circuit in a car very similar to this on Simraceway, it is a very difficult circuit. It's one that encourages you to take more when you're not really supposed to. It's a true touring car circuit, and one that is designed to really create some close and exciting racing, overtaking opportunities at every possible moment as Devil Bevan makes his way now down the Starkey straight before going into Fogarty's once again. So moves over to the right hand side of the circuit, avoid the bumps there as the car goes weightless for just a split second, then your belly turns as the weight transfer changes. Now into the chicane, careful of the anti-cut strips and straighten that car up to make sure you don't have any oversteer before going now in towards that Melbourne hairpin. Heavy braking under here, then look at the wide runoff, turn in nice and early to bring the car out wide. If you go in wide, you're going to come in deep, and it really is going to make it quite hard work to get yourself straightened up before going in towards that final corner once again. So through Goddard's goes Devil Bevan, and it looked like a very clean lap, a little bit of a wobbly exit, but shouldn't cost him too much. And I don't think, however, it is going to be... Oh, he does extend the time. So he chose the best lap to go on board with him then, at 1:30.073 just posts. And that really is going to make it very difficult for drivers to pin him down now. One minute 15 left in the session then, and Firefall is pushing more than anyone at the moment. He's only 2 tenths behind now. When you take a look at him, he's in the pit lane currently, but he's done the most laps out of any driver possible. 6 laps completed. The only other driver to achieve that feat currently is actually Clark, 26 behind him. About 5 tenths of a second away. Clark's on the circuit at the moment, actually, going in towards that Melbourne hairpin. Arguably one of the best places to view a race from Donington Park, and definitely one where the winner of this Donington Championship may consider seating themselves for the grand prize, which is of course a ticket to the British Touring Car Championship round at the event, at the circuit right here in England. So it could be a very exciting holiday to say the least. I could not think of a better way to spend the weekend than to hear the British Touring Car crew fly around with top names such as Jason Plato, Gordon Shedden, champion Andrew Jordan, and so many more. But right now, KKND doing a little bit more there from P4 at the moment. And he just quickly pops his face through Coppice there, and he's looking very sturdy actually, as he gets that car straightened up. And you can see very carefully as well how the driver's almost caressed the wheel, and instead of one violent movement to the left, it's lots of little gentle movements, just a little gentle tint to the left to make sure that you're not oversteering that car. And that's something that's become a common occurrence here with these BMWs. They're very easy to lose control of, very tail happy, and that's just what makes them such a pleasure to watch. But as the session comes to a close then, let's wait and see what Devil Bevan can do. Goes a bit wide on his final outing. Makes his way down into Melbourne. We've got a few cars still currently trying to set times at the moment. KKND is about to cross the line. Will he improve from P4? The last man to do so for second. KKND doesn't do it. He stays in fourth by 6 thousandths of a second. Now the majority of the field making their way in towards that final corner. Let's just see what the lap time is going to be like then. Devil Bevan's going to be the man who's going to dictate the pace of the field. I think KKND can lose 8 laps at the end of it as well. So really pushing hard there. 8 laps in a 10-minute session. That is a flat-out sprint. Devil Bevan in comparison's only done 6. And he's just hit a 1:29. That is simply remarkable. A 1:29.857. That's the end of the session, and we'll be back shortly with the race. Hello everybody and welcome back after a bit of a delay to the first race of the Donington Championship for this skill quant, the 500 plus skill quant up all the way towards 900. So we've got a big field here today. 14 drivers are going to try their luck at getting themselves a win to start their campaign to get those British Touring Car tickets as quick as possible. Question is, how can they react in the conditions as the race gets underway? A slow start there from Devil Bevin to an extent. Vijay also struggled, it seems, as the field head down into Redgate for the very first time today, trying to hold the inside. Oh, he's off again! And 2 times in a row, the race leader has gone careering off into the racetrack. We get a restart. But that was not really the ideal starting position for these drivers today. They really needed a big start. Need to get away cleanly. Clark 10, who calls out just to not break it, I don't think, gets a big warning and telling off from the live marshal. And who can blame him either? Let's wait and say, though, that we've still got plenty of action to come, of course, including the second round of the Mitsubishi Series. That's coming up just after this one. Vijay with a big statement there, going out to the middle again, drifting over back to the left-hand side. Gan's been challenged there into turn number 1. And a little bit of contact. Devil Bevin goes off, retains his position, but down to second. Clark 10 goes up to P3. Good start for him as they enter the Craner corners. Question is, can they maintain this now as off goes Clark? Be careful when he rejoins, and he's gone plough. He could not get the car slowed down in time. Almost 160 miles an hour, and that car's been turned into a road vehicle. There was no way he was getting that vehicle slowed down. Right about there, you can see Klame just trying to push his way through as Kianji at the back goes off. And that was from P8, so a fairly big loss there. But as they come towards the straight at the end of lap number 1, they're approaching the Melbourne hairpin after just going through that very nifty chicane. Over the bumps they go. And Ngan doesn't have it all easy. Devil Bevin is really giving him a run for his money, staying with him. Definitely going to try and maybe breathe some life into him down the inside. So no, Ngan hold his position well. KKND now also trying to maybe battle his way forward. Vijay in P4 staying with him. The entire top 4 we've said in qualifying. Second, third and fourth were very close together. And that's the case. And oh no! KKND goes wide, Vijay goes wide, and the resulting consequence is KKND pirouetting, and way up in the background there is Clark 10. He's now 14th, so his race has not gone to plan at all. It wouldn't surprise me if he retires. He's received a stop and go for what seems to be corner cutting. It's even that's going to get revoked, but even so, right now these drivers have had a very tough opening lap. It's got to be said, they've not had it easy. And they need to try and find a burst of speed now, especially the ones in the midfield, because the 2 race leaders are pulling away. Devil Bevin and Ngan separated by a mere 600ths of a second. If you take a look what's going on a bit further down the field, 3 seconds back already after just 1 lap is where Class Action in 3rd position sits. Let's just see what Devil Bevin can do. He's trying to challenge there, going towards the chicane, but I don't really think he's going to get anything to go. No, he doesn't. Although, maybe going down in now to the Melbourne hairpin, he needs to get his car over to the right-hand side. There's a lot of runoff room if he wants to try and move, and he ducks back in and goal. Very well played. He fooled Ngan. She went super defensive, and that's just sort of the psychological games here that these drivers play with each other. It's maybe trying to trick one another, strike a bit of fear into the heart of Ngan as he tries to fend off Devil Bevin and protect his race lead. The other 2 cars now in 3rd and 4th are catching them. The gap has come down. They cross the line. Let's see how much it is. It was 3.9. And I think it could be 2.5. So almost an entire second has been shaved off that time around. And as they go through Redgate and in towards those Craner corners once again, you have to wonder, is Ngan maybe holding up Devil Bevin? Is he really fast enough to retain the lead around the circuit, predominantly dominated and won by drivers who are good all-round racers and good at retaining their track position and fending off overtaking manoeuvres? As you said earlier, this track's almost made for touring cars. It does host the 24-hour race of Brit Car, but it also hosts a variety of touring car races, including the BTCC, some open wheelers as well. But what this track really is made for is just pushing drivers side by side, seeing who's got the greater guts, who's got the willpower to try and test a move that may not pay off and may have a greater consequence. And Devil Bevan's extremely late in towards that chicane and somehow made it stick without having any contact, to maybe wait now for the Melbourne hairpin to arrive. He does so very smart by both of these drivers. They're not being too aggressive, but what they are being is smart and sensible, and that really is shown in the professionalism of their racing. As you look a bit further down the field as well, there was a car slightly wide there. I think it's all been corrected now. It wasn't anything too major. And as they go back onto the main straight, Zepaqueno and Vijay currently 4th and 5th, begin to chase down Crass Action as he really starts now to reel in the two race leaders. Let's just wait and see as Devil Bevan now again goes through those fast flowing corners known as the craners, and just look at them right now as well. 140 miles an hour down to just 90 in about a second and a half. It's ridiculous how quick these cars can decelerate, but as you look at Devil Bevan, he's got other things on his mind. He wants that race lead. And he can't quite get it though. And as they'll now go in towards Coppice Corner, he's got to be quite careful because very easy to make a mistake through there, and it's a nasty gravel trap. And again, apologies for any actual difficulties. Yeah, just looking through the comments, you guys are experiencing some video difficulties at the moment. I'm terribly sorry for that. I'm hoping it all gets resolved very soon. We believe it is something to do with YouTube and nothing we can control at this stage. We're going to try and fix it as soon as we can, guys. Don't forget, the full replay of the race will be available to watch just after, as soon as it gets uploaded to YouTube. So if you can't quite watch it now, or maybe it's a bit too sticky for you, you can still tune into the full rerun. There will be no glitching whatsoever then. That will be a bit later on as we enter lap number 5, almost halfway through the race now. And it's still in Gange that leads 8/10 of a second over Devil Bevan now. Class Action still chasing him 3rd, Zepaqueno 4th. Vijay chasing him in P5. KND P6 as well, watching on. He's got the popcorn-esque view as those two drivers fly through Redgate, almost bump drafting each other. That's like something you'd see in NASCAR, especially through a set of corners like this. Really is very, very scary. It's a duet, make their way up the hill in towards that old hairpin. Now they've got to be so careful as they push their way through. And you can see, it's so difficult for these drivers to get themselves in a good position where that car's not going to oversteer. We've already seen it quite often here today. And Zepaqueno almost lost the back end. Vijay did almost identical the same. But when you look back down, there's 4 or 5 cars. That midfield has become ferocious. I think everyone realising what's at stake as well. The mid-stage in this race now. And drivers starting to realise, as you say, what is at stake? What are they playing for today? The answer is a good position going into the final 2 rounds. There's a yellow flag out. What's happened there? It's been a bit of an incident. It's Devil Bevan! Devil Bevan is off! And he's been passed by almost the entire midfield. Down to P9. Crass Action is in the lead. What has happened here? Crass is now in the lead of the race. Gange is down to 6th. There's been a monumental collision between the X2 race leaders. I think it must have been going in towards that hairpin. It has to have been. And unfortunately for those drivers, once again, the pole sitter will not take a victory as it stands. This championship spicing up already to be something truly exceptional as the drivers start to get a bit more aggressive now. Only half the race left to go. So you're looking at maybe about 8 minutes or so until we find ourselves a winner. But for now, that midfield is utterly ferocious. I would not want to be stuck in the middle of that right now. There's a good 6 or 7 cars all within very close proximity of each other. And as they go back into that chicane once again, all decelerating. Beautiful sounds to hear, but I'm sure for the drivers, it won't really be on their list of things they want to take from Donington. They want to take a victory. They want some big points. Yankee there side by side with Clame in towards the hairpin. Let's see how this pans out for P11. Of course, every position matters here. Yankee trying to sweep it around the outside. He will get a better drive. And of course, the inside line before going into Goddard's at that final corner. See what he can do. He's going to pull up nice and easy. Oh, he's gone a bit wide though. Clame's going to sneak one back up the inside. Yes, he does. Beautiful racing there. Very professional indeed. Very respectful. Every driver leaving plenty of space. Exactly what we like to see. So, quick run through off the order then on lap 7 out of 11. It is Crass Action that leads. Then Zepaqueno, then Vijay, then KK&D, very closely followed by WTTN in P5. Engange down to 6th, Dimitri 7th. Good result there for him after winning race number 1 here in the lowest skill quant of that 500. And he's going to do very well here today to finish in that position. Crash HMF in P8, 9th place is Devil Bevin, 10th for Andy Bob, 11th Clame, 12th Giangi, and now Pack has caught them as well in P13 with our lone retirement being Clark 10 at this stage. I don't want to put a commentator's curse on it. But right now the attrition rate has been very low and the excitement levels have been very high. As Engange and Dimitri do battle once again. This time it is over P6. Engange defending off of the winner as Dimitri goes on the inside. Oh, into Melbourne. Very nice manoeuvre indeed. Engange again going to retain the inside line. And leaving Dimitri kind of scratching his head as to what he has to do to get past this man. Oh, he's trying to sweep it around the outside and Crash pushes him wide. Luckily, both cars retain their position. There was no contact between them. And again, a very feisty midfield, that is for sure. Lap 8 of 11. And you can see just P6 all the way down. P9 are separated by about 0.4 of a second. They are so close, these drivers. And with so much at stake, it's so important to get points in these early rounds of the championship. If you fail to do so, or you can't quite get it to go, you make a silly error, or for instance, like we saw in the B race earlier on, that you get a pole position and you just can't quite convert, so you end up losing position in the long run, and then it's going to be very difficult to claw your way back through such a competitive field. It's not like you've got rounds to fall back on where you can go, you know what, I can afford a bad result here. We've still got 7 rounds left. No, not the case whatsoever. There are 3 rounds, 3 different cars, 1 track, 1 overall winner. And it is so important for these drivers to realise that now and give their utter best as Devil Bevin tries to push his way back through the field after what has been a disappointing start to a promising qualifying session. He started so well, so high up the field. He was battling for the race lead earlier on. And unfortunately, the tides have turned and he's kind of been left vying for more. He's down in 8th at the moment, having just dispersed of Crash HMF. And now will set his sights to Dimitri, the man who inherits 7th position at the moment. He's still got a long way to go though. Only time will tell to see if he can really push himself back into the top 5 and recuperate after what was a huge collision against a certain Mr. Engange, who's now P6, so Engange has recovered quite well, it seems. He hasn't had the best of races, but he hasn't exactly had the worst either. P6 after leading the race earlier on. Again, another recovery drive from a man who's ended up leading the race at some point. It's been a common factor here in his opening 2 races today. As we get ready to start the penultimate lap of the race, the drivers starting to get into their comfort zones, but it could be too little too late. The entire top 5 still separated by just 5 seconds though. Again, another staggering statistic as to how close this championship really is and just how phenomenal Donington is to host such a championship. A massive thank you to everyone who works at Donington as well for making this sort of series possible and offering the British Touring Car Championship tickets up for grabs to the winner. Right now, Crass Action, our race leader, is coming under a huge amount of pressure from Vijay. I've got to say, 1.3 seconds separated at the moment. As we go in towards the final 2 laps now, he crosses the line. It's down to 0.7 seconds, so out of nowhere, Vijay started to lose quite a bit of time to Zepaqueno as well. And Zepaqueno has been one of those drivers, again, we've mentioned, if you're a familiar watcher of the Simraceway Sunday race, or if you'll be familiar with this guy's name in the lower skill quants here, he's done a great job here making an impact. And we always knew that he could have the potential to be something special, and now he's got the opportunity to race on the biggest stage of them all here at the first ever race of the Donington Championship. And he really has outperformed all expectations, hasn't he? Third place at the moment. He's got 0.7 of a second in front of KKND. If he can hold that and get a podium in the first race, he'll be over the moon with it. Thoroughly deserved indeed, and we'll see if he can just bring that car home over the next final lap and a half. As they'll make their way down the straight and in towards that so intimidating chicane. It just never seems to get easier, does it? And there's KKND now just trying to fight his way forward. But Zepaqueno is not going to let him have it. You can blame him either. As we said, he's already made an impact. We know what kind of racer he is. Let's just wait and see if he can improve. So over the start-finish line they go. The final lap of the race underway. It's now or never for some of these drivers. They want to make an impact. They have to do it now. They have to get themselves into that top 3. They need the big points. You don't want to be left fighting for scraps come race 2 and 3. If you can get yourself up to a good start, the pressure lifts off and you can really try to push yourself forward. And maybe a top 5 will seem more relevant than a pole position. Going into qualifying next week, right about this time, next Sunday evening. On the run up to Christmas as well, as things get festive off circuit, on circuit, things are very heated. As the entire top 4 still separated now by just 3.1 seconds with half a lap to go. We're still not entirely sure who's going to maybe make it to the very top of the ladder. Crass Action still arguably the favourite. So down in towards the Melbourne hairpin for the final time today in Crass Action. Holding on. Is it going to be enough though? Vijay says he's going to try late braking. And he does get closer. One more corner to go. He's going to take something special from Vijay to secure a victory. Is he going to risk it all just for a chance? Yes, he is. On the inside, there's contact. And Vijay loses control. It was worth a risk, but it didn't pay off. Crass Action holds strong. A great display there. And Crass wins the first race of the championship. And an emphatic start as well. Very well done there to all 3 podium finishers. Crass Action, Vijay and Zepaqueno. 4th was KKND. 5th place for WTCN. 6th place for Engange. 7th Dimitri. Very good result there for Dimitri. Devil Bevin 8th. Crash 9th. Klame there in P10. 11th Andy Bob. 12th Giangi. And 13th was Clark 10, with our lone retirement being Pack 23. But what an emphatic finish that was to the race. So thank you so much for watching. We'll be back very shortly with the second race in the Mitsubishi Evo Winter Series. Hello everybody and welcome back live to the Simraceway. I was going to say Sunday race-off, but this is a very different series. This is the Mitsubishi Evolution X December World Championship. It's round 2 and now we're getting ready to go back underway here at Watkins Glen for what could be a monumental event as the drivers set off as the car stopped at the back. And that was class action. It's not got off to a good start at all. But looking towards the front of the field, it's Van Panther Shadow Bounty dueling in towards turn number 1. With Van no fight at all for the rest of the current you know where your favourite driver is currently placed and what their championship position is currently looking like as we have number 2. Right now Shadow Bounty trying to get inside that slipstream before they have to chicane. Can he get it? No one knows these Evos, as we said before, every time they come to Watkins Glen, they truly are fantastic to watch. Into the chicane. Very gracefully. There was not even a single moment of worry there that Shadow Bounty was going to come back through. Very steady driving indeed from Van Panther. The rest of the field as well, very close to it. In fact, they're all bunched together. There's not been a single incident. I don't want to put a commentator's curse on that either. But right now, I was only a minor off there for, I think that was Wild 7. You can see that's right at the back now, Senor and King Dio, P8, P9, dueling away into the penultimate turn. And a bit of a wobble there as well, as when Senor went very deep. Dio on the inside of the final corner will lose out on the drive and the kick coming out of the final one. And indeed he has, and now Senor's going to retain his position and go down the main straight. In 8th position, so an update at the end of lap number 1, it is Van Panther that leads. And then 2nd place, Shadow Bounty. 3rd place there, Sagadila. 4th place is going to be Mercia, 88. 5th place for Lazarus. So good, strong start there. And as they wind their way up in towards the chicane, let's take you through the current championship standings. So leading the way after a win last time out was Shadow Bounty. Lolin Fox 2nd, won 18 points. Then Wild 7, P8 Ragster, Chris, King Dio, Tomcat, Luke Sky, Crass Action, Lazarus, Dimitris Giannopoulos, who can't be here, and then the rest of the drivers are on 0 points. So the top 12 having scored so far, Shadow Bounty leading the way on 20, and conveniently enough, maybe looking for another at least 18 at the moment, as it's Van Panther that leads this one. The man who's currently not doing too bad in the championship for his debut. He missed the first race, but he's here competing today. Oh, he did miss the first race, I beg your pardon. He missed out points in the first race, and one of the issues that we did encounter last time was that both Luke Sky and Lazarus received warnings. Luke Sky received a penalty of a 10-second stop and go, and as a result was classified in 9th position as opposed to the 6th where he finished, if you're wondering as to why he scored up so low. Oh, it's contact in the background. A complete pirouette on the spot by, I think that must have been King Dio again. And he's side by side there with PA, and he was almost there with Nel Senor as they all meant to go 3 wide. It's a bit of a mess back there at the moment as they'll stream down into turn 1. All 5 cars, and they just about get through okay on lap number 3 of 16 to start. Dio there darting around, thinking he's got way too much more speed than PA as they climb the hill again. However, PA still retains a position at the moment. It's his to lose as Dio gets in the slipstream and really does now try to hammer away at that lead. Let's just wait and see. They go into the chicane one more time. And will he open out? No, he won't. He's very smart, King Dio. He does not want to risk anything too substantial as Pierre has a bit of a moment on the exit. And I'm sure Dio must have sensed that. Okay, so we have lost visual... actual all cameras and images from the circuit at the moment. So apologies for that. I'll do my best to keep you guys updated through radio commentary. The drivers just making their way to the end of lap number 3 right now, coming down the main straight. The 2 leaders pulling away from the rest of the field at the moment. Van Panther and Shadow Bounty. Shadow, who's after another healthy point tool to really further extend his points lead here. It'll be a total of 38 points from a total of 40 he could have possibly got. So could very well be a big day here for Shadow Bounty. Then about 2 seconds behind them now are Lazarus and Company. That is Lazarus, Ragster, Sega Dealer, and Merger 88. So all the way down to P7 there with Wild 7 are fighting over P3. And then the field really does start to separate out a bit further away from there as PA Dio, Lito 76, and Nel Senor all get themselves in their fighting motions as they made their way to the chicane once again. It's really interesting now for these drivers to see if they can maintain composure and maintain that consistency, something that Mercier struggled with just then. That could have gone a lot worse. He skipped over that chicane. You can see the car got a little bit of airtime as well. But let's just wait and see how things go. And maybe try and give you guys some sounds from the circuit if I can. And maybe just keep you updated and give you a bit more of a realistic feel as to what's going on right now. You've just joined us. Welcome to week 2 of the Simraceway Mitsubishi Evolution X December Championship. Currently about a quarter of the way through the race. And as Van Panther makes his way down into turn 1 once again, still in the lead, followed by Shadow Bounty. Maybe time to take on board with Shadow Bounty and really listen to how much he's pushing. He's all over that rear end of Van Panther as they climb the hill. Not far away at all, just over the top of the apex now. Not long to go until that chicane. Shadow Bounty looking towards the outside. Can he duck back in the inside? Not quite, but he's gone for an outside pass here. Very risky through the chicane. 133 miles an hour. Brakes very early. Van Panther's able to hold his ground. He's not letting anyone pass him, it seems, without a fight. And so they make their way through that swooping right-handed downhill called the chute for a very good reason, as it shoots you down the circuit. And then they're running the shortened version, of course. So instead of swooping all the way back round and coming back up, you shoot your way into the final couple of corners. And that's what Shadow Bounty's doing right now, following Van Panther on their way to start lap number 6 of the 16 given to us here today. So let's quickly take a rundown again of the order at the end of lap number 5. Van Panther still leading the way, then Shadow Bounty, then Lazarus, and then he's actually side by side with Sega Dealer there over P3 with Ragster, keeping a very keen eye on both drivers as on they head into turn number 1. Bit of a nudge from, and Lazarus spins! And Ragster actually hits Sega Dealer, and as a chain reaction got clobbered in the background by Ragster, and then both drivers pirouetted off the circuit at turn number 1. Lazarus rejoins in P7. Ragster still off the circuit on the inside of the pit wall there, having to wait to reverse back across the circuit, meaning that in order to wait for free track, he has to let every single car pass effectively. And he's now down to 14th position out of 14. So, unfortunately for him, his race was looking so promising. He still has another 11 laps to go, but even so, that's not the real big way you want to make an impact here in this Evo Championship. A series which has been tipped to be one of the most exciting in sim racing, and one where the community really did get behind it very fluently. So a massive thank you to everyone who's tuning into these broadcasts or making contributions and feedback on the forums. They really do mean a lot to us here at Simraceway. And Ragster actually still struggling now as he hops and bounces over the chicane. There's Lazarus still fighting there with Nel Senor and Litos, who's been in just about every bit of action imaginable here today. So they streamed their way up the hill. Apologies for a little delay there. We're just discussing an incident and trying to get to the bottom of would there be a penalty with the Lazarus and Ragster incident. I don't believe there will be, as Van Panther and Shadow Bounty make their way around the second half of the circuit once again. Still Van Panther leads 7 laps in, approaching half race distance now. and he hasn't really been able to be touched anywhere close. Shadow Bounty doing a fantastic job, though, of maintaining pressure on him. The man who won last time out of the first round of the championship. But only time will tell if he can maybe hold on, because in all honesty, there's still a very, very long way to go. And and Van Matten goes wide at turn number 1 there as he starts at number 8. Not where he wants to be at all. And there's Mergia and Wild 7 as well. Both of those cars seemingly struggling in P4 and P5 there. Also perhaps wanting a bit more than what they've currently got. They'd love to get some points. The weekend in Wild 7, he came third. Very good result indeed, but he would have loved second. He was so close. So to get himself another top 5 finish today will do his charge for the championship great wonders. So as they go back on to what could be a big part of this race for especially the midfield drivers. We've got both Litos and Lazarus dueling now with Nelsenor. Lazarus at the back in the bright blue Mitsubishi Evo, the only one in that trio, as you can see right at the back. Nelsenor tries to open up on the inside of the penultimate corner. He's denied. And Lazarus has got a lot of smoke coming from that left tyre, and he's actually gone wide and lost the position. He goes back down to 9th, and the trio bundle into the final corner, and a little bit of a scramble. There's no order to that whatsoever. Down the straight again, a drag race between Lazarus and Nelsenor. Nelsenor flashing his lights, got nowhere to go as Litos blocks the outside line. And Lazarus may get 2 positions in one corner if he plays his cards right. And he unfortunately was not dealt an ace of spades. He can only gain 1 position. Provisionally, though, Nelsenor fighting in 4-8 goes up the inside of turn number 2. Through the S's, and unfortunately, again, there was no way that he was going to be able to make that move sick. One of the beauties of Watkins Glen, and a reason as to why this track was added to the calendar. It's been a driver favourite. It's been one of my favourite tracks to see these Evos perform at, in all honesty. Never a dull moment at all as Lazarus dives up the inside of Litos, and he can't make it stick. Now Senor holds on and still leads that trio. So there's Senor 7th, Litos 8th, and Lazarus in 9th as it stands on lap number 9 of 16 here. So we still have quite a way to go. Just under half the race, but right now, I think these drivers have just got to try and focus on bringing the cars home, especially Van Panther and Shadow Bounty, who remain unchanged at the very front of the field. So Lazarus down the main straight, retaining his 8th position as they start the 10th lap out of 16. A quick run through of the order as it stands, and it's still Van Panther that leads the race, still only a 10th in front of Shadow Bounty, so those drivers battling to the death here. Segadila P3, Mercia 88 sits in 4th, Wild 7 in 5th, PA 6th, now Senor 7th, Lazarus in 8th place with Litos just behind them in P9 as they go to the top of the hill. Litos still trying to fight for a bit more as now Senor really trying to run away with this. It's like he's got a turbo in there or something out of nowhere. Has escaped the clutches of Lazarus and Litos. And now Litos goes up the inside of Lazarus into the chicane again. Arguably the most popular overtaking point on the circuit. He just can't make it stick at the moment. But they're still side by side going out of the chicane in towards the right-hander. Litos on the inside. Lazarus sweeping it around the outside. He's trying to do so. And with little success. I think Litos just about holds on. And now we just await Lazarus's perhaps return move. And Nuke Sky's caught these guys as well. Luke Sky, who suffered the penalty last time out, he did finish 6th overall, was demoted to 9th after a penalty. And it was a very stern warning that followed from the race director as well, who's going to be very careful and very cautious about today's race. Van Panther still defending on Shadow Bounty there, just looking at a ride on board with Shadow Bounty and how he's trying to drive. He really is pushing him and running ragged, but as we said last race, these two know each other so well. They've had so much history between them, and now they're on the biggest stage of them all. That rivalry is set to escalate at least 10 times, and it looks to be that way as well. Now Shadow Bounty for the first time all race gets alongside. They cut off in towards the penultimate corner, but that was a very big warning sign that if you're caught off guard, then bad things can happen. You've got to play this so carefully. Down into turn 1 once again. Go the 2 race leaders to start the final quarter of the race. And you can just really feel the tension as Shadow Bounty pushes more and more of them out. It goes wide through turn 1. Such a big runoff area. And now Shadow Bounty to the inside. And still round they go as they get to the top of the hill. But somehow again, Van Panther just shuts the door on him. He slams that door shut, and out of nowhere, Shadow Bounty must be left scratching his head, wondering what he has to do to get past. In the slipstream towards the chicane again, not through there. Van Panther holds his ground very sternly. This is arguably the most exciting battle on the circuit. Approaching 17 minutes worth of racing time as well. So the drivers may just start to get a little bit more fatigued now, a little bit tired as the race draws to a close. Final corner once again, and you can really start to feel the tension as it ramps up. Lap 13 of 16 now. So a quick run through of the order on lap 13 of 16 then. Van Panther from Shadow Bounty. Segadila P3 goes a bit very wide at turn 1 there, as does Mercia, who goes even wider in P4. While 7 P5 breaks a trend and follows through lovely. 6th place is Mr. P8. 7th place now Senor. 8th place is Leto 76. 9th place Luke Sky. 10th place Lazarus. 11th is Crass. And 12th is Jim Wally. So apologies again if there has been any technical difficulties today. We are trying to sort through them as quickly as we can and keep you guys updated as to what's going on the circuit currently. But right now, as Litos 76 still trying to attack Luke Sky 80. Hasn't really been able to make anything of it just yet. Shadow Bounty and Van Panda, though, the main battle for the lead has still gone nowhere. Shadow Bounty can't get through, and he's running out of time. You can really feel how hard he wants it as well. He's trying to push. He's got himself a slipstream. Moving to the outside of the final corner. This could be a move to set the difference in the race. And not quite. Van Panda flicks the tail out. And almost gives him a signal that if he did try and move through there, that was going to end in almost certain contact. Through the final corner. And now lap number 15 starts. Penultimate lap of the race. There are 3 minutes until the end. And we find ourselves a winner. Van Panda to the inside of the circuit, not taking any chances, as Shadow Bounty looks to really assault now in these final stages. Can he get a second win in a row, or is Van Panda going to rise to the challenge? I say that though, Van Panda's done a fantastic job and easily my driver of the afternoon. He's held off Shadow Bounty for 15 laps straight when the two have been separated by no more or no less than 200ths of a second. They've been neck and neck all race long. Van Panda has fended off every single move Shadow Bounty's thrown at him, but now Shadow Bounty to the outside, really starting to pick up momentum. Then to the chicane, and now Van Panda really, he flies over the curb and is able to just about fend it off one more time. Going to be very worrying going into the final lap though. Shadow Bounty did lose quite a bit of time there. They went as close as 100th of a second separating both of them. I'll give you a quick update on the rest of the field shortly, but I think it's imperative that I can really keep an eye on these two race leaders now. As they enter their final lap, they're going to come through the final corner. And now Shadow Bounty to the inside. This could be the one then. The start of the final lap. Here we go. To the inside. He's risked it. It's a late move. There's no room. He's going to run wide. Oh, he's done it, surely. And Van Panda cuts back. And Shadow Bounty has lost momentum. They're still side by side. They're wheel to wheel racing here. And Van Panda says no and somehow comes out on top of it. Van Panda somehow wins this race. He will get a driver of the championship, surely so far. This has been a brilliant performance and one worthy of a championship. Bounty attacking again now to the outside of the chicane. Track running out. He needs to get that braking line ready. Brakes a bit later, but Van Panda's able to straighten the car up quicker and fend off the manoeuvre. So it should be plain sailing from here. There's only 2 more corners left to go. Let's just wait and see how things pan out. But for me, Shadow Bounty has just not been able to do enough. He's done everything in his power. But Van Panda has made a bold statement here today. Shadow Bounty will not run away with this championship. He's going to have a darn good fight on his hands. Bounty into the penultimate corner. Looking stronger as ever. But Van Panda goes a bit wide. He holds on. Bounty up the inside. Then he backs out of it. That would have been inevitable contact. And not a fair way to end the race. Across the start-finish line, Van Panda is going to win the race by just over 100th of a second. So it's Van Panda that wins. Shadow Bounty takes a well-deserved second. Sagadila, what a performance there for him in third. After a good performance last time out as well, that's just going to add to the total. 4th place for Mergia, 5th for Wild 7, 6th Mr. PA, 7th Luke Sky, 8th place for Lazarus, 9th Litos, 10th will be Nelsenio, 11th Crass Action, 12th will be Ragster, 13th Jim Wally, and 14th will be King Dio. But what an afternoon of racing that has been so far. We still have 2 more races coming up for you. The opening 2 rounds of the Donington Championship in the highest skill quad, the B race and the A race, resulting in a large 23-lap run to the line at Donington Park back in the United Kingdom. We'll see you shortly for both races. Hello everybody and welcome back to qualifying for the first race of your first ever Simraceway Championship that's fully sanctioned right here, replacing the Sunday race off. If you've only just joined us, you've already missed 3 fantastic races. There have been some breathtaking moments and exactly why we chose Donington to host such an event. It's been an honour to commentate them so far, but now this is where things get serious. Let's just hope the qualifying can be just as exciting as the last. We've got 6 minutes to go in the session. I'll quickly give you an update as to who is where. So Daniel C, the leads the way at the moment, the only man to break into the 128 with Kozielek in P2, Mr. Jones third, back to Gabor in P4, El Nino P5, AZ Best 6th, Seacom in 7th, PMMS in 8th position that's a debut in a Sunday race-off it would be, but a debut on a broadcast full stop. Archeo 72 is in 9th place, T-Bolt is in 10th, 11th is Vasquez, Frego 12th, John Daniel 13th, and Damagico is 14th. So there's a lot to play for today, as you've already mentioned. If you're not too familiar with the championship or only just joined us, then the grand prize is a pair of tickets to Donington Park for the 2014 British Touring Car Championship round held at the circuit. And at a circuit which prides itself on being so out there, so challenging, and one that drivers just love to come to and have a race at. So it really is going to be a breathtaking weekend if you can get yourself tickets. Who knows, I might even be down there and be able to do a meet and greet with the Simraceway commentator. I'd absolutely love to meet you guys if you can get down to the event. But we're going to be carried away. We've got to focus on the qualifying session in hand. As Daniel C is just 2 tenths up on Kozielek at the moment, set to maybe come down. Daniel going across the start-finish line now to start his 4th lap. Does he improve his time though? That's the question. No, he doesn't, so he still stays only 3 tenths. Okay, and just also keep an eye out, this is a live announcement that the next round of the championship, the car will be the Lotus 88B, and the 3rd and final round will be none other, and what better fitting way to end such a prestigious championship than the Simraceway Car of the Year, the Mazda 787. So that really will be a weekend to remember. That's in 2 weeks' time. We head to the Lotus 88B next weekend, but for now these drivers focus on the BMWs. And just out of context as well as to how different all of those cars are, you look at what sort of car the Lotus 88B is, and then you realise just how much of a challenge these drivers have on their hands. It's such a prestigious Formula 1 car driven by legends, and it shines out in history. It's just one of those cars where you look at it and you think, you know what, this is something special. This is a car which is really going to push someone to their limits. Someone like Elio De Angelis, who raced it back in 1982, I believe. And now will be re-hitting the street, well, they'll say the street will be the Circuit of England once again at Donington Park in just a week's time. And after that, we end with the 787, a Le Mans icon by Mazda. So 3 very distinct different cars. We've got the GT class now, then an open wheeler, and then a Le Mans prototype. So it really will be the best of 3 completely different areas of driving, 3 very different cars to get to grips with, and 3 very different ways to attack a course such as Donington as well. So it really will be the best overall driver who should theoretically take the championship. As we come towards the end of the qualifying session, 2 minutes 20 left. It's still Daniel C in the lead with AZ Best now breaking in. He's on a 128.936, so he has got a bit closer to our current race, qualifying leader. 128.7 is what the benchmark time is at the moment. Kozielek knocked down to P3 due to that. Back to Gabor, still P4. Mr. Jones there in P5 as well. So there's still plenty to race for. All of the top 5 have done 5 qualifying laps each, so they really are giving it some, that's for sure. They're not taking this lightly. I think they all realise how badly they want to win this, and it's going to definitely be what Simraceway is pushing towards in the future. We've already seen how successful the race-offs have been and how well received they've been, not just by the community, but by the drivers, the audience, and everyone who takes part in them. So now to see it form into some sort of championship will be the next step forward. How successful will this be? All determines on really how much these drivers are willing to give. And right now they're giving 110%. And I really can't wait to see what they can do when they embrace 15 laps of the Donington circuit in just over 2 minutes time. There's not that long left now in the qualifying session as back to Gabor goes up to 3rd, overtaking Kozielek, who sinks down to 4th. Mr. Jones improves and goes to a 129.093 now. So he's just over that 129 mark. He's not that far away at all though, in all honesty. He's done very well for himself so far. The entire top 5 separated again by about 0.5 of a second. They are doing extremely well. It's just a case now. 42 seconds left. All of the top 5 on 6 laps. And now 26 seconds for these drivers to get themselves to the line. John Daniels with a bit of a squirm there, it seemed, at the back. But as Jones makes his way now into the chicane, oh, he goes back to the pits. He's had enough. The lap he obviously doesn't feel good enough. As Daniel C, our current pole sitter, makes his way through that Melbourne hairpin once again. And then in towards the final corner for his last qualifying attempt. Can he better his time? Is he safe in pole position? Or is there a very late twist in the tail? Let's find out. Daniel C across the line. What can he do? Doesn't improve. Stays in first. Only 2/10 lead at the moment. AZ Best is on his way back to Gaber. Does not improve. Oh, he is so close as well, though. 300s only behind AZ Best. Ogielak still P4. Best is on his way down the straight. Down what's called the Dunlop straight now. Jones is in. PMS is in. John Daniel's still out. El Nino's still out. Fregel's in. Arkeo's in. T-Bolt, Vasquez, and DiMagico. So all eyes sort of on AZ Best now as he comes in towards that hairpin once again. Can he do the buzzer beater, though? He doesn't have that long to really get his car to the line. It's going to be very intriguing to see what he can do from here. One more corner to go until we find out who the pole sitter is. He needs to find about 0.2 of a second. Has he done enough? Bit of a wobble on the exit, bit of oversteer from the BMW, but is AZ Best set a personal best? No, he doesn't, and that is the end of the qualifying session. We'll be back very shortly with the full race. Hello everybody and welcome back then. The time is now, the Donington Championship about to take its first step on the road to glory. Question is, which driver is going to walk that road in front of everyone else? Let's find out. The race is underway. Big start there by Easy Beck. Taking the whole back. Horrible to be 3 there in fact. His race did not get under way to the best of starts. As they go through the car in the corners, and just look at that now, the Craner, just such a difficult corner to get through, and look at the race leader Daniel C, having taken it back. He's got to really worry now about the consequences of his actions, because he's going to be stalked all the way to the line, followed, just breathed down the neck by Easy Best. Back to Gaber there as well. Bit of a move there in the background, and that was Archaeo 72 trying to get a bit of a move going on Seacombe. And as they go up towards the Dunlop Straight for the first time today, what would have been before, the Dunlop Bridge was actually sold to a British radio presenter called Chris Evans, big motorsport enthusiast who actually bought the bridge of Donington Circuit. So a little bit of pub quiz trivia there for you all sim racers. And Mr. Jones goes to the outside. Bit of a mistake by Archaeo, and that let him through. And El Nino going to try and do the exact same into the hairpin. He does so with great success. Archaeo can't get the drive through the corner, and off goes Seacombe. Seacombe ready to go. Daniel C starting to pull away actually. He's got 7/10 of a second already. Easy Best actually he's another 7/10 in front of Baxter Gaber there. But as the rest of the field make their way now through the Craner curves, and you can just really start to see the tension. And oh, what a save! Whoa, no, he's lost it. Okay, Vasquez. I thought he somehow was able to keep control of that one, but it just wasn't to be. And he's going to have to try and turn that one around and get something moving. That's 3 big drivers now that haven't had the best of starts. Daniel C further extends his lead to now what is 8/10 of a second. Then Easy Best, of course. Then Mr. Jones in P4. The field's starting to separate out now. We haven't seen this all afternoon. We've seen very close content racing for the most part, but while these fields are so evenly matched, and a bit of a squirm there by Archaeo again, who's been just nothing but action here today. He's been focus on the spotlight in the opening 2 laps or so. And El Nino apologising there. Frego had a bit of a moment. I'm wondering if they were in any way connected at all. We'll have to try and wait and see if I can get some confirmation as to what happened there. But it looks to me like at the moment it's going to be a very, very tight battle at the front of the field, unless Daniel C can start stepping it up. Yes, he is 1.4 seconds away, but that's not the battle I was referring to. When I meant at the front, what I meant was AZ Best and Baxter Gaber, who just keep pounding away at each other now. They're just separated by over a second. Mr. Jones there, P4. P5 is El Nino. 6 PMMS, who's had a very solid start, to be honest. He's kind of avoided all the carnage which has happened all around him in that midfield. It's not really been a safe place to drive an opening stint to the job. Archaeo, then DeMagico, then Frego, who's got a nice train of cars behind him as well. The Frego freight train is in full motion as he battles his way into ninth position there. T-Bolt trying to follow him now and maybe look for a move as they make their way down the straight again into Fogarty's. Is he going to get it going or no? I don't think, in all honesty, he's got enough speed to get close enough. You've got to decelerate so quickly as it is. And unfortunately, just didn't quite get it going there. Seacombe now retires from the race. He becomes our first retirement of the afternoon. So we're now 5th off the way through the race already. And oh, Koshilek and Daniels, there was no contact. Daniels taking the brunt of the damage at that same corner again. The Melbourne hairpin causing to be a real issue for some of these drivers out there today. So Daniel, Best, Baxter Gaber in P3 as well. Jones still P4. El Nino Then that incredible train at the moment of PMMS, Archaeo, Demagico, Fraggle, T-Bolt, Kozilek. And that rounds out all the way down to P11, so from P6 to P11 in a train, that's going to be very fun to watch as the race develops. So look at this as well then. Already, as we said, that Daniel C needs to pull away. He hasn't though. He's stayed about that same gap now for the last 2 laps. It was almost 2 seconds. It's gone down to 1.5, but we'll compare lap time. 1.6 through there. Back to Gaber now 2.8 seconds back, so he is losing time back to Gaber in third. We can scroll that back on there. It's still remaining to be seen, but that's the cleanest line there through the Melbourne hairpin. It'll be interesting to see if he will lose any time come the lap or no. So let's compare lap times then as Daniel C marches his way across the start-finish line to start his 5th lap as your race leader. 129.095 and a 129.001, I beg your pardon, for AZ Best. So already a huge deficit there. It doesn't seem like a not 900ths of a second, but when you're chasing someone down, every 100th of a second, every 1000th of a second means something, especially when the stakes are as high as this, where every point scored can matter. So everyone has to be so careful now, and look at Kozilek as well through the craners. Really starting to attack T-Bolt. That is over P9, so one of the lowest scoring positions, but obviously we can make something out of nothing, which is what takes a great racing driver and turns him into a phenomenal one. You can just turn a situation of nothing and turn it into something brilliant. That's what gives you, well, it's what's going to give you a chance of winning this championship and give you a chance of maybe winning those BTCC tickets. So wait and see how it pans out, but Kozilek just can't seem to get the drive at the moment. So we'll still have to wait and see. Maybe if he can try and pull something back a bit later on, but for now, it seems to me that Daniel C may have this one all wrapped up if he can maintain that current speed, because yes, it's only early, but no one can get close to him. He's done a stunning job so far at keeping his way out in the front of the field. Even so, it's still going to be a pretty much a seesaw situation, I think, for those 2 drivers today. So it could be a while before we see a real gap develop between them, as AZ Best has now put almost 8 seconds back to PMMS in 5th place now. So a quick run through of the order again. Daniel, AZ Best, Baxter Gaber, Mr. Jones, Archaeo as PMMS goes wide. And that's a very weird corner to go off at as well. Well, that was coming out of McLean's, I believe. So right at the top of the hill, not exactly where it needs to be. But still a long way to go. We're approaching the halfway mark here in just a couple of laps' time. And as Daniel C edges closer towards that start-finish line, I'll tell you what, someone's edging closer to him. AZ Best has gained 0.3 of a second that lap. We'll see what the overall total is now. A 1:29.3 from Daniel, 1:29.1, yeah, 1.3 seconds now separating the 2 drivers. Daniel C is not exactly going to run away with this one, is he? I'm sure he'd love to, but life's not always as simple as that when you do have to really grind and work your way for it. Back to Gaber in P3, he's had a very solid drive so far, and ideally, when it comes to the shape of the championship and obviously winning the championship, he's not going to be in a much more enviable position. He's done a fantastic job so far at maintaining good track position and maintaining good pace. But when you think about what he's offering here, he's inside the top 3, which is a huge amount of points, okay? When you're inside 3rd, it's hard enough to fight normally. Look at what the 2 leaders are doing. If the 2 leaders start fighting, you're only 4 seconds behind. A, you're going to catch them quicker. B, you've already pulled away from the rest of the field. And C, if you don't catch them, you've pretty much secured yourself a very high points paying position without having to worry about risking your own life. Well, I say risking your own life, risking your own race or your own cause just for a few extra points. So from Back to Gamer's perspective, he is arguably in one of the most enviable positions in the entire field right now, with every other position except for 4th, inherited by Mr. Jones, being fought for at this stage. So we still don't know as they come across the line now to start lap number 8 out of 15. Who's going to keep their heads cool going into the second half of the race, but as we approach it, it's getting so close to that stage in the race now where drivers start to maybe drop off a bit and lose some fatigue, maybe both mentally and physically. These BMWs are not exactly easy to drive, are they? But now just look at AZ Best as he drifts that car out at the top of the track there. Very good effort indeed as they go through McLean's. And down the old straight again and over the bumps. 1.2 seconds of gap, so it has risen just a little bit now. And also, don't forget that the next 2 weeks of this Simraceway Special Championship hosted at Donington Park is going to contain 2 very different cars indeed. We've got the Lotus 88B, the iconic Formula 1 car from the 1980s that will be raced right here at its home in just a week's time. That will be here at Donington Park next Sunday from around 5 PM GMT. So by 1981 was when it raced again, but you can just see how definitive that car truly was. It never won a race and it never took a pole, but you look at the 2 drivers that raced it, 2 such as Elo De Angelis and Nigel Mansell as well. Nigel Mansell, one of the greatest British racing drivers to ever step foot inside Formula 1. Now in his own golf course actually, inside the south of England, but when you're racing a car as prestigious as that, you can expect some fantastic racing. Back in the days where assists were turned off almost and it was just down to the driver, there was no traction control, no ABS, no anything like that. It was down to the driver, the car and the tarmac, and that is exactly what we're going to see at Donington Park. A circuit designed to push a driver's mental strength to the limits and a car which will do exactly the same as well. So very interesting car choice, and we'll see how the drivers adapt to that choice. And then we're ending with the most iconic car from Mazda when it comes to Le Mans, the 787, and a car which has also won Simraceway Car of the Year. That will be in 2 weeks' time, this Sunday on the Simraceway YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe if you want to, think you'll forget those dates or want to subscribe just to make sure that you get a notification when the streams start. And for now, we turn our attention back to the BMWs. You look at the Magico and Kochilek there, P8 and P9 at the moment. Now developing a battle in 8th and 9th through the hairpin. Kochilek trying to move to the outside. He's got a lot of work to do still. And all up the inside of the final corner, DiMaggio, almost a bit of a kiss, I think, to the front left side of his car. He's done very well to not really take a hit there, but this has been a very exciting battle so far. We're on lap 10 of 15, so 6 laps to go, essentially. Let's take a ride on board then with DiMaggio at the moment, because he has lost a little bit of time there as Kochilek pulls away now in 8th position, and with, as we said before, every points paying position proving to be vital. You cannot afford to let a point slide this early on in the championship. It's not like, as we said earlier, where you can just say, okay, you know what, I can afford to drop a point or 2 here. It's not as important. I've got 7 or 8 more rounds. You have 3 chances at this championship, 3 different races. You have to perform. If you don't, then the consequences are going to be very evident and very visible. You're going to really lose some big points in a series which demands them. When you think about it and you think about what's at stake, some big cash prizes, and of course those BTCC tickets, which I'm sure every driver would just love to get their hands on. El Nino and Arceo 72 could also be coming into a bit of a battle shortly. They're currently 6th and 5th to the battle for the final top 5. 1.1 seconds. We'll check lap times now. 1:28.8 from Daniel, 1:28.6 from AZ Best. So AZ Best is getting the absolute best, if you pardon the pun, of that car right now. Back to Gaber comfortably in 3rd. Mr. Jones 4th. Arceo 5th. El Nino in 6th. PMMS 7th. Kozielek in 8th. Magico 9th. Regal in 10th. T-Bolt 11th, John Daniels in 12th, Vasquez 13th, and our only retirement of the day so far is Seeker in 14th position. So taking a look at the battle then between what was Damagico and Kozielek just a moment ago. It's only been a lap and the two cars separated by 1.7 seconds, so either Damagico decided to take his foot off the throttle a little bit, or maybe just Kozielek stepped it up a level. Either way, the two cars, which were neck and neck a lap ago, now separated by almost 2 seconds as they're going towards that very tricky chicane. And just showing how tricky it is there as Damagico wobbles over the top. Those anti-cut strips doing their job, but unfortunately for Damagico, he was caught out and he's lost even more time to Kozielek, who he was chasing down just a moment ago. And El Nino started to attack Arceo as well. Now, as we said, down to 0.7 seconds. They're really getting fired up now as they go in towards the first corner once again. And then through the crane of corners, they'll go just through Hollywood there. Such a beautiful corner as that bridge just comes closer and closer into sight. And you can really see the phenomenal surroundings and the scenery that Donington Park has to offer, unmatched almost by most circuits in the United Kingdom. It's got a fantastic sense of belonging, a fantastic sense of an urban culture surrounding it. And as the cars get closer together, they're certainly wanting to stay away from nature and all the green stuff on the left-hand side of the track, because it is really deadly when you think about it and just how much that these drivers can lose time by. Into Socrates again. And out comes El Nino. No wobble at all though, he did a very sturdy job. So, quick update on where Daniel C is currently. He's still 1.9 now ahead of AZ Best as he goes through Redgate and into Hollywood. 1.9 seconds. It has become more of a Hollywood chase, if you pardon the pun as well, as AZ Best has started to lose ground. Back to Gaber's only 5.4 away, so if there is ever an error, he's going to be creeping up those back stairs and eking to gain an extra position. We're only on lap 13 and 15 still. 2.5 more laps to go here. And as through McLean's and Coppice goes Daniel C. We got to take a quick battle actually between John Daniels and Vasquez. This is the closest one on circuit at the moment. P12 and 13. As Vasquez really does look to try and attack the young American. One of the youngest sim racers I think on the service. I think he's only about 14 years of age, John Daniels. Very big fan of all things endurance and oval as well. Pretty much anything with 4 wheels, as are many petrol heads, but Vasquez is trying to give him a hard time. And John Daniels has been one of those characters as well that has very much so matured in the year or so that we've seen him race. He was very, almost like a loose cannon to start the weekend. He used to make some silly errors, some rookie errors. And as his driving style's matured, he's had nurturing and tutoring from a few of the other drivers almost. And just some inside tips here and there, and as he's learned to cope with the longer races, and then he has to change his driving style. He's developed into a very smart young driver that is capable of delivering big results when he has to, but unfortunately in the first round of the championship, 12th position is not the big result he was looking for. Could even be 13th at this stage if Vasquez has his own way. So Daniel C then about to come towards the start of his final lap, and he's still 1.5. It's been fluctuating all race long, hasn't it? We're 20 minutes into the race now. And you've just got to wonder, has he done enough? If he does make a silly error, it's going to cost him big time now as they go through Melbourne. He went very swiftly through there, in fact. You can see the skid marks coming off the bottom of the car. But he will go through the final corner for the penultimate time today as your race leader.
This is the final lap. Keep it
He lost
going.
lead at the start of the race, but regained it back almost instantaneously and has led every lap ever since. And the question is, can he maintain this and bring home a victory? He's done so well today, and Daniel C, there'd be no greater man, would they? Be picking no other driver who deserves to win this at all. They've done so well all afternoon. These two at the front, AZ Best has given him a real run for his money, but you do have to feel that Daniel C has just done a far superior job. He's been quicker, more successive, more consistent, and has hammered in those big lap times when he's had to, which is something that AZ Best couldn't quite match. He got close at times, but there was just not enough come the end of the game. Come the end of the race, when all said and done, AZ Best just could not get that momentum swinging in his direction. So through the Melbourne hairpin for the final time today then, and a bit of a lockup, but that doesn't matter. It's not going to have much of a consequence now. And now looks into the final corner. Daniel C has done a spectacular job today. AZ Best follows him, but it's not enough. Daniel C will win the first round of the championship, the Donington Park Championship. And what a way to win it as well. He's followed by AZ Best, but what a sterling drive by Daniel C. That was a Vettel-esque performance. Stepped it up when he had to, dictated the pace of the race like it was a video game. Although in this case it is a video game, but Daniel C utterly unstoppable at the front. AZ Best in second, Back to Gaber third. As we said before, Back to Gaber got that early advantage of that just track space, really. He got 4 seconds behind the leaders, 4 seconds in front of the cars behind, and that was all he needed. He could just bring the car home at his own pace. Mr. Jones 83, P4, El Nino in 5th, Arceo P6, 7th the Magico, PMMS in 8th, T-Bolt in 9th, 10th place will be Fraggle just behind in the end. He couldn't quite get there. John Daniels beats Kochilek and Vasquez, who suffered a drive-through penalty at the end, and our only retirement is Seacombe. So don't forget, if you like what you've seen here, we've still got the Big Daddy coming, the final race of the night of your Donington Park Championship. The first round using these BMW Z4 GT3 cars. The question is, who's going to be the winner? 23 laps, one winner going in towards the next 2 rounds. Who's it going to be? Find out very shortly when we return live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final qualifying session of the evening here at the first round of the Donington Championships. It's the final skill quant, the 900 to 1100, and it is the A race. 23 laps of action are about to unfold, but before that, we need to determine a grid. What better way than a 10-minute sprint session for these drivers to just try to get their hot laps in, to get those banker laps in, and to sit themselves right at the front of the field when that green light drops in just over about 12 minutes time, including the warm-up session as well. So if you've only just joined us, my name's Liam Jenkins, and I'll be calling all of the action for you over the next half an hour to 40 minutes or so, and you will not want to go anywhere else. It's going to be a brilliant evening of racing. You've already seen 4 fantastic races so far. We got one more coming up. So let's see how the drivers adapt to the situation, because in all honesty, I just really can't wait for it. We've already seen how much of a challenge Donington can be, and not only that, just how interesting it can be when you put the BMW Z4 on there. When you put these drivers under pressure, how do they react? Do they start messing up, or can they maintain a solid performance? We've already seen as well that, especially at Donington, that qualifying isn't everything. You don't need to be on top of your game to really be in chance of winning. All you need to do really is be consistent, be quick, make the right calls at the right times, and who knows, you may, just may, even end up on the podium, maybe even on pole position, maybe even as a race winner, who knows. But this race series will span out over the next 3 weeks. So the second week, using the Lotus 88B, the car so famously driven in the early 1980s by British racing legend Nigel Mansell. So it'll be very interesting to see how that car returns home to Donington Park, to see just how it returns. Hear that Lotus engine roar once again, back in the glory days of Formula 1, the classic era, as to when everyone just was so manly, the roar of those engines when they were fired up, and everyone on the edge of their sweet seat, adrenaline throwing through your veins quicker than anything else. It's such a monumental feeling to hear that engine rev up, and you can only hear it here in Simraceway. That's next week, and then the final week will be none other better car than the Mazda 787, the legendary Mazda Le Mans car that won Le Mans, and it's iconic here in Simraceway, not only because of its Le Mans achievements and achievements in endurance racing, but also because it was voted by you, the community, as the Simraceway Car of the Year. So why not have it ending such a fantastic series as well? But for those drivers who want to make it all the way, they want to win those big prizes, those huge prizes, which, if you're not sure, let's quickly run through them then. So overall then, it's divided into the top 28, so it'll be a following prize structure. Obviously you have 14 in the A race, 14 in the B race, so overall all your points add up, which makes it a lot fairer, so the B race have a chance. So with all, say you win a race in the B race and someone else wins one in the A race, those two drivers will both respectively have the same amount of points. So it's who overall in the championship has the most points come the end of it. So the top 3 drivers in both skill quants from the A and B races will receive $100 and a pair of tickets to the Donington Park British Touring Car Championship round in April 2014. So it will be absolutely fantastic opportunity, no matter where you are in the world, to come over to the UK and experience British touring cars at its pinnacle, at a circuit which never failed to deliver some fantastic racing. So you really want to do that. And also I may just show up there and meet a few of you guys, watch a racing with you, you never know. And then 4th place, we've got, of course, a bit of cash there in the A race, so it's $57.40 and all the way down. So no matter where you finish, even if you're rock bottom, you still get about $8. So really is an exciting championship. A lot of it's on the line, and with only 3 rounds, there's a sense of urgency from these drivers. They all want to make it to the top. They all want those tickets, and to be overall within that top 3 to make sure that when they can come over to Silverstone, Donington Park, sorry, that they can look back on this championship and go, you know what? I made it. I got to where I need to be. I took 70 points in every race, and now this is my reward. But as we turn our attention back to the qualifying session, then it is Miss again who leads the way on a 128.377, Griffey a 128.5, a 128.6 there for Shadow Bounty. Van Mantha in 4th, Strogafia makes his return to Simraceway in 5th, Lounger currently in P6, Agvarti 7th, Bandito 8th, AGO 6th, 9th, Sean, Mepte, Jamie, Graufindel, and a certain Mr. Osaracola in P14. And you just look at this, the strength of this field. And for anyone who's ever watched a Sunday race off before, you know exactly the names I'm referring to. I'll just shout out some of the big ones who've been here for nearly a year now, racing week in, week out, winning these prizes, making a statement, making a name for themselves. Shadow Bounty is obviously a familiar one. Grivy's really risen up the ranks in recent weeks, so we'll see how he can do when it comes towards this big championship. Can he make it stick? He's currently qualified 3rd. Anxiety, Lounger, Strogafia, Acer Acola, AGO6, Sean 24, who took a win quite recently, Jamie 1. They're just these big, almost gladiators of the Simraceway world that will race in these Sunday race-offs as they were, and now have earned a spot here in the Donington Park Championship. Question is, so can they wrestle these BMW Z4 GT3 cars around the circuit to make it towards the end of this qualifying session on pole position? So I think there'll be a better time than ever, really, to take a lap on board with a driver. Let's see if anyone's going just about towards the start-finish line at the moment, then. Let's take a look. One, let's take a look at Grivy then. So he's currently P4 at the moment, just coming towards the end of his lap. So through the final corner, and this is where things start to get really interesting then. Off the bat straight away, you need to get your car over to the left-hand side of the circuit for that turn number 1. Very difficult corner is red gate, tight apex, wide runoff. You've got to get your car precisely on the mark as Grivy finds out there, or it will throw you off in the opposite direction. Hollywood, you make your way down now to the Craner curves and into the old hairpin. A sudden brake now. Let that car slide through, the downforce shifts you through, keeping you centered on the track. And now through Starkey's Bridge, through Schwartz Curve, and up to McLean's Corner. McLean's one of the most iconic on the circuit, down to just about 82 miles an hour as you get back on the throttle once again. You power it down the straight, the next corner on your hit list will be Coppice. Send the car in nice and early through there. Be careful, there's not a lot of oversteer. Very difficult to put the throttle on early through there without hitting the rev meter at its max and overkilling the engine. So making your way down on the right hand side of the circuit again before going in towards that all-important Fogarty chicane. It's so difficult through there. And you make your way down to the Melbourne hairpin, the hairpin which has seen so much overtaking action today. A lot of daring overtakes. That wide runoff area just does look so inviting when you're trying to attack on the inside, and for these drivers I think they've all found out that it can be a little bit misleading. As they're going towards Goddard's End, the final corner of the Donington Park circuit. You want to try and hang nice and tight through there. Don't let the car oversteer. Switch it back in the other direction. And that is a lap of Donington Park. He goes across the line. And he stays 4th. He does gain there. He's only 4 tenths off of Shadow Bounty at the moment. The session will end in about 1 minute's time. Then we'll advance to a short warm-up session. Hello everybody, this is the moment you've been waiting for, the finale and the first race of the Donington Championship, and it's summed up there by Simraceway legend Asa Acola. This is very, very close. The question is who's going to get the best start on the road to the British Touring Car Championship tickets. Let's find out. We're away at Donington. Big start there by Griffey, trying to force 3 wide. That's never going to work. Forced onto the grass, has to cut right back across. And Shadow Bounty retains the lead. There's a bit of movement in the backfield there. And it's AGO6 has taken a knock. And he's, completely off. But apart from that, the rest of the field making a tremendous start. As they head down now in towards the crane of corners. A bit of side-by-side action now with Asa Acola as Griffey tries to move up the inside. Luckily, he can get it done now. There's some real hustle going on in that midfield. That looks angry. There's about 4 or 5 cars. They're all trying to go 2 and 3 wide in such a tight and tricky part of the circuit. It's difficult to get one car through there, let alone any more. Just wait and see what the rest of the field can do. But towards the front of the field, it's Shadow Bounty that still leads. Miss again following, looking towards the inside perhaps of that chicane, but not quite through there this time. And over the anti-cuts goes Shadow Bounty. And that's a little bit of a scary moment, I can assure you that. But that's not going to stop these guys from doing something that they love. And that is putting on a splendid show for us here today. Let's see what then the next 22 laps are going to bring us. It's Shadow Bounty who leads at the end of lap 1. There's a car off in there. It's Anxiety and Mepday. Both cars off. They do have 22 laps to try and push back through the field, but it's not where they want to be ideally. And that could be a sign of things to come perhaps for them. And a Shadow Bounty now really does start to take some time out of the man in second. He's already got 2.5 tenths to him. He'd love to get himself a little bit more, but again, that's easier said than done. And this again, definitely on the prowl at the moment. Lounger sat in P3, lurking and waiting. Griffey in 4th. Then that big train as well. Van Panther, Asa Acola down to 6th there. So it hasn't really been a strong start there for one of the main protagonists in this championship. When the series was first announced, you knew he was going to be there. He's got a great chance of getting himself down to Donington, to this very circuit. And it's going to be a very surreal prize as well when you think about it. When you think of what's at stake, to race at the circuit 3 times, to do endless hours of practice, then to watch the British Touring Car Championship race those same corners in reality in what could be a completely different country. In a car you've raced on, it'll be a very fantastic experience. And right now, Shadow Bounty, the man leading the way at the moment, as we said, Miss again second. Shadow looking to take those 70 points here today. Michigan follows, over the line they go. What's the time like? At 1:28.7 or 1:29.0. So Shadow Bounty really taking the time out now, it seems. They'll have to try and wait and see what the outcome of this is going to be, because right now there's still way too much, I think, playing factor into this. There's not enough evidence to say that Shadow Bounty is going to run away, because Michigan's still very much there. As you said, both Michigan and Griffey have been standout side teams. In the last 6 months, they've come on leaps and bounds as drivers. And there goes Strogafia now really giving Asa Acola a run for his money. Take a look at this as they go through McLean's. And then run up to Coppice, up that short stretch of road, up the hill, into the right-hander. And look at that train of 4 cars as well. Make their way down the straight. Asa Acola in a bit of trouble perhaps. He's looking a little bit wary there. We've already seen what he can do attacking wise, but he's got to be careful that the hunter does not become the hunted. And don't forget, if you want to get involved in something like this, there will be plenty more opportunities coming up in the future. We've got some fantastic news going into 2014, all of which will be available very soon. But be sure to check us out on social media. Go on Twitter for @Simraceway. If you want to contact me, I'll answer your questions on the broadcast. Search for @Liam J Sim Racing, or go on Simraceway's Facebook page, facebook.com/Simraceway or simraceway.com, and then click on the forum be sure to head over to the web chat. You can talk to the drivers you're looking at now who are putting on a stunning display, it's got to be said, especially in that midfield. And then maybe talk to drivers that you've seen earlier on tonight, and they can give you some pointers into how to get started into the best free-to-play that PC has to offer. And to go under Donington Park Bridge, and you can really see that is a fantastic sight. So first of all, massive thank you to Carlos for providing these brilliant camera views. But Asa Acola is all over the back of Van Panther, who's already been in multiple bits of action here tonight, and he's already in some more now. So he's going to be quite tired, I'd say, by the end of tonight. Asa goes wide through Coppice, very easy to do. It's so tempting to just run a little bit extra wide to take a bit more and just put a throttle down earlier, especially through there. You want to brake, you want to get on as soon as possible, thinking it'll get you out quicker. It never does. All it'll do is spin those rear tyres, hit the top of the rev meter and lose you even more time. And now he's going to find that out as Asa looks to the inside of Van Panther into the Melbourne hairpin. He's got just enough room. Van Panther almost shut the door, and he just did enough to hold on. So now the Van Panther trio is really starting to pick up. Asa goes wide. Does he go on the grass? Not quite, but it's such a long way back round, and Strogafia may punish him for it. He's in the slipstream going into turn number 1 now. Let's just wait and see. And no, Asa Acola holds the inside line. Very good defensive driving there, that does have to be said. Massive well done to Asa Acola, especially as they went through Redgate, through Hollywood they'll go, and into the Craners, and look at how much line he's taken. Strogafia was so close to making a move, and he just couldn't quite get there in the end. So a quick run through off the order then on lap 5 of 23. Shadow Bounty still leads after 5 very dominant laps now. He's got 1.3 second lead over Michigan, and that starts to increase. In fact, Michigan can't quite touch him. Then Michigan second, third place is Lounger. Fourth place for Grivy, fifth place there for Van Panther, sixth Asa Acola, seventh there for Strogafia, and eighth for Sean 24. Who's actually under a lot of pressure there from Jamie and Anxiety. Anxiety, I wonder if he's been in an incident. Oh, he's looking to the inside here. This could be a double move. It's going to be big. He's overtaken one. Needs to get to the inside of Sean, and quick. Sean goes a bit deep as well. That's going to help Anxiety. He can't pull it on the inside. He knows that Sean's going to have more drive, especially going in towards Goddard's. And Sean's able to brake, swing the car in nice and early around this 2.4 mile circuit. They come towards the end of it for the 5th time today. Sean 24 still heading up that 8th place battle in front of Anxiety, and Jamie 1 at the moment, but Anxiety getting closer. Looks to the inside again, ducks back in. There was unfortunately nothing going through there. Sean did just enough to hold on. Aim for the apex, and whoa, he's got that all wrong. Anxiety goes off, and the gravel slows him down and avoids hitting the barrier. But I watched that from the onboard perspective when you're literally looking at the floor, and that was a very, very close save indeed. It could have been a very dangerous incident. Both cars could have had a dramatic collision, but somehow they both ended up okay. I'm still stunned now there was no contact at all, but that was a very scary moment indeed. Oh, Strogafia with a bit of a nudge as well. You can see that back end stepping out, going out of the hairpin. But Asa Acola still has his sights firmly set on Van Panther, doesn't he? He does not want to let him go at all. So almost a third of the way into the race. Over the line goes Asa at 1:28.9, so not a bad time in the slightest, as he looks to try and catch the man in front of him. These two again have had some very historical battles over the past 52 weeks or so of the Sunday race off, and what better way to round out the year's anniversary than with a championship with a prize as exclusive as this. There aren't many sim racing leagues full stop in the world. You can try your other sims, but there will not be many which will match the sheer velocity of prizes here. Real life cash with $100 and tickets to the British Touring Car Championship in Donington, and Asa Acola loses the car. And he pirouettes onto the grass. And that is going to be so demoralising. Heartbreak echoes around Donington Park as one of the main protagonists sinks lower and lower down the order. There goes Sean 24, and Asa Recola bites back. And he's not going to let that one go at all. He's sung, but he's going down swinging. He does not want to go down further. He's fighting now with everything he's got to stop Sean passing him as they go in towards that chicane one more time. Sean still trying to search for a way, and Asa Recola on two wheels. And someone can get a screenshot of that. That would be brilliant. I've never seen that in my life at that corner. As Jamie goes under attack there from behind of Sean. He sweeps it round, gets on the throttle early, bit of oversteer, not a problem. Sean makes the move stick, and there's not an issue. But I think right now the question for these drivers is, can they maintain this current sense of speed, because they've all done such a good job in this first stint. I can already feel it looks like the sun's setting, doesn't it? The clouds are going slightly pink in the sky on lap 8 here, out of 23, and they do look so beautiful here in the scenery. I mentioned earlier on how truly remarkable it looks. So a quick run through of the order on lap number 8. Shadow Bounty still leads with a 1.1 second lead over Miss Again in second. So third place is Lounger, fourth place Grithy, fifth place Van Panther, sixth is Strogathia, seventh Asa Recola, eighth is Sean, ninth is Jamie number 1, who's currently number 9 if you pardon the pun, Anxiety in 10th, and Mepte in P11. And a good job so far as Mepte. Interesting to see if he can maybe push his way a bit further forward later on. AGO6 is 12th, Graf Findle in 13th, Bandito rounds out your field in 14th, but all attention is still on that mid-pack battle. We're on lap 8 as we've said, approaching lap number 9, and look how ferocious it is. Very intimidating to say the least, as they make their way down the straight once again. Strogathia in slipstream of Van Panther. He's done a very nice job indeed so far trying to catch him, but Van Panther having easily shaken off Asa Recola after a bit of a spin earlier on. Taking a look on board there with Strogathia as he really does now try to attack a certain Mr. Van Panther. Tensions start to rise, so realise what's at stake. If you are just joining us, then welcome to what could be a very exciting finale indeed. We've seen 4 fantastic races so far, but as it comes to a close and we approach the halfway stage now, you things start to wonder. AGO6 there receiving a penalty. I'm assuming that will get revoked. But as they all enter that chicane once again, the one that's caught out so many drivers and sent Asa Recola onto 2 wheels and made him look like he was from a Fast and Furious movie. It's really become apparent how hungry these drivers are for this top prize. $100 and a pair of tickets to the British Touring Car Championship right here at the Donington Park Ground in April of 2014. And Van Panther, a little bit of oversteer. I say a little bit, Strogathia suffered greatly with oversteer at the end to the final corner. Down the main straight again they come. And Shadow Bounty now has himself just over a second in front of Miss Again. Again, I think that lead has kind of seesawed all race long. It's been back and forth in the first 10 laps. No driver able to gain a definite advantage. It just seems like Shadow Bounty's been the more consistent of the 2 drivers. Michigan, whilst he's been a little bit quicker overall, just hasn't been able to find that consistency. It's been 1 lap he's about 5 tenths quicker. The next he's just about 3 or 4 tenths off, where it all loses that hard work. However, they're both considerably faster than Lounger. He finds himself 3.9 seconds away at the moment, so he's still got a little bit to play for. But still, the main crux of this race is in the midfield. You take a look at Van Panther and Strogathia once again as they head towards the, well, first of all the chicane, then come out and go towards the Melbourne hairpin. And so hard to get the car decelerated and slowed down through there. Strogathia doing everything he can to stay on the back of Van Panther and not let him escape. There's a top 5 position at stake here. And as I take a look at what the points actually mean, that would mean a 4-point difference. 54 points for 5th place, 50 points for 6th. So 4 points in 2 races time could be the difference between BTCC tickets and about $50 worth of prize money. So it really is all to play for. You want those early points. As I've said earlier on in all the races, this is not one of those series where you can afford to have a drop round or you can afford to have a bad race thinking you can pick up the points later. If you have a bad race one now, the pressure will be mounted so much and the weight of the world will be effectively on the driver's shoulders as he tries to claw his way through the field, knowing that he has to get a good result to survive. We may as well call it Survival Sunday in week number 2, because any bad performance 2 weeks in a row may just see you eliminated from a chance to win those tickets. So Survival Sunday coming up next week, along with round 3 of the Mitsubishi Evolution X Championship, a race which saw a truly phenomenal race today, some emphatic overtaking moves to say the least, back at Watkins Glen. But Strogafia just can't get the drive going on Van Panther. They approach the chicane again. Van Panther moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Strog trying to go to the right-hand side now and maybe sneak one and double back it. He's gone in very deep. He's hit the anti-cut though, and that hasn't helped him at all. Van Panther's easily able to fend that one off for a little bit longer. Asa Acola catching him a bit though. He's 10.3 seconds behind. Never ride that man off. We've learned that over the past year or so. Winner of the very first Simraceway Pies. And he's also been to the Performance Driving Centre. We've seen some fantastic adventures almost over to America in the past year or so. If you do want a chance to win a trip to the Performance Driving Centre at Sonoma Raceway, the venue for the IndyCar race earlier this year, then you can go over to simraceway.com. And throughout the year of 2014, there will be certain events where you can qualify a chance to get flown over to the PDT, drive yourself a Formula 3 car, drive the Evo, and just how it feels in real life to be a racing driver for one day. Right now, these drivers are having the experience of a lifetime, and even the racing drivers in real life may be quite jealous, because these are some brilliant battles we're seeing on circuit right now. Griffin Lounger just up in front of the Van Panther and Strogafia battle. Strog again looking a bit dangerous, isn't he? As they go through McLean's up the hill, and he can't quite get anything to go through the right-hander, unfortunately. He's doing everything he can though in the slipstream, but Donington's so difficult to pass on. As they make their way back in towards the Fogarty chicane again. And then in towards that all-important Melbourne hairpin, which has seen so many possible overtakes here today. So many, well, I say tried and tested overtakes, haven't really worked. We've seen a few spins as well. It really is one of the most exciting corners to pitch a seat out of this circuit, it has to be said. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Shadow Bounty and Michigan still wage their war. Lap 13, a 128.5 from Shadow Bounty and a 128.4 from Michigan, so still not that much at all. And again, Michigan a little bit quicker that time round. After being slow at the lap before, Lounger and Grivy fighting over 3rd and 4th. 5th and 6th is the Van Panther battle. 7th, not in a fight at the moment, is Asa Acola, but a 128.7 compared to a 128.9 from Strogafia. So there is still time for an Asa Acola comeback. And as I said before, I would never write that off the cards. This man is capable of some great things. You've seen it here in the past, some dramatic Sunday race-off turnarounds. The most memorable for me was that time at Sonoma when we had the reverse grid, the A race and the B race. So race number 1 was just based on qualifying results. Race number 2, the complete reverse grid. He came through the field and won the race, and I'll never forget that moment. I said it may not be able to have been done. He'll be the first driver to do it in a Sunday race-off, but he went out and just smashed that record and made it look so effortless. So never ride him out, especially when Strogafia and Van Panther are as dueling as heavy as they are. They're doing a very, very intense job right now of battling along the circuit as they're going towards a hairpin for the 13th time today. Strogafia runs a little bit wide there, in fact, tries to cut back underneath. Van Panther with oversteer, and that may, just may, allow Strogafia to move to the outside of the circuit. It does indeed. He has to sweep it through Goddard's, and that is no easy task, as that just tried to get you to run wide anyway. Strogafia is able to just about stay in the slipstream and not fall for the trap. I think it has to be noted as well how close the two race leaders are right now. Miss again, who's all over Shadow Bounty out of nowhere, it seems. Same with third and fourth, Griffey and Lounger. Their duel has been set up and that is just waiting to explode. And you can almost tell this race is like a time bomb. It's only a matter of time before something explodes. You just don't know when or who it's going to come from, but there will be an explosive manoeuvre at some point down the line. I think we can all see it coming. Just wait and see what Lounger can do as he tries to attack Griffey on a circuit which has so many overtaken opportunities, but it's so difficult to overtake. It really is a paradox. It's so hard to not only catch a car but get past one, because it really is with every action there's a reaction, and as soon as you overtake in one corner they'll get you back the next corner. You overtake that corner, they'll slipstream you and get you back the following one. It is so difficult to pass an opponent here, but Strogaffi is going to go for it here at Van Panther to the hairpin. Lap number 14, this is for P5. Signed, sealed, delivered. But he's gone a bit wide, Van Panther. Actually ripped the wrapping paper off. Van Panther's coming right back at him into the final corner. Very late break in. Will he run deep? Strogaffi anticipates he will. His call is denied and Van Panther somehow retains the position. Now he's got a great run into turn number 1, into Redgate. Can he get on the outside? Oh, he's forced on the gravel. And that was I'm not sure if that was a dirty move or no, or if that was just really hard racing, but either way, Strogaffi forced onto the gravel, and it could have been easily raced over there if he'd have hit the wall. But it's got to be said, that reminded me of the whole Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello incident back in 2009. I think it was at the Hungaroring when they raced right up to the pit wall. Very close, very intense racing. That's exactly what we've seen here today. There's Lounger and Griffey fight as well. So do Miss Again and Shadow Bounty, who've done a good job so far. But no, I think it's easy to say that Van Panther did not keep the race in line. He did cut across and maybe cause a bit of an unforced error, unfortunately. Just goes to show you how hard these drivers want it. They want it so much right now. To just have that potential, have that possibility, that one chance at maybe, just maybe, winning the race to the BTCC tickets. Lap 16 and 23, then a quick run through of the order. Shadow Bounty still leads from Miss Again, then Griffey in P3 with Lounger in 4th. Van Panther proudly sits in P5 from Strogaffi in 6th. Sean 24 in 7th. Jamie 1 in 8th place. Anxiety sits in P9. Asa Acola down to P10, and a disappointing race for the man who qualified in P4. He just hasn't been able to deliver. Anxiety at a moment there. He's able to save it. Mepte P11, AGO6 in 12th, Bandito P13, Grauffindel rounds out your field in P14. Now, I don't want to put a commentator's curse on it, but there has not been a single retirement after 16 laps. It's been the only race tonight where that hasn't happened, but it has been a really stunning event here. Very good performance by every single driver to not put a foot wrong. They've done great. I think related back to that Strogaffi move on Van Panther, he may have been a bit overly aggressive there. Van Panther didn't really do too much wrong, and I think we're about to see repercussions because Strogaffi is on a warpath right now. He's all over the back of Van Panther again. The gap down already to 1.2 seconds. It was about 4. Lounger and Griffey much the same, and Van Panther had a bit of a lock-up there coming out of Melbourne. And as they go into Goddard's for the 16th time today, it's still Shadow Bounty that leads. 0.4 of a second in front of Michigan. Those two cannot be separated, can they? They're like Siamese twins. You really can't move these two apart. So really not a long left now. About 6 laps to go until the checkered flag falls and we find out who will be leading the race to the BTCC and who will be leading the race into Survival Sunday, into where their survival may not be so important, that they may not need a big result. So to get 70 points is a pretty impressive achievement, which will be 20 points in front of the man who finished 6th. So you do have a very good chance. But remember as well, It's out of the A and the B race. So you're not just competing with the 14 other drivers in your split, you're competing with the 14 drivers in the B race as well. So every single driver who scores a point is eligible. So 28 positions overall. It's going to be the top 14 that really made the impact. But only the top 3 out of those top 28 are going to get tickets in each skill quant. So 6 pairs of tickets overall. It's going to really be an interesting finale, isn't it? To see in 2 weeks' time when the Mazda 787 returns to Donington. The Van Panda and Strogafia battling again. Strog went for a move back in Melbourne and he couldn't quite make it stick, unfortunately. Although he has got a lot closer to Van Panda. That is dangerously close through there. Van Panda made a tiny error. They start lap number 18 of 23 now. Don't forget as well, as we said, if you want to get involved in Simraceway or fancy your chance at the spotlight in a Sunday broadcast, maybe even you could be having a chance to win these British Touring Car Championship tickets. Head over to simraceway.com for all the information. The game itself is free to play. And don't forget, you can head over to the web chat on the website and talk to the drivers, the admins. Maybe even I'll pop over and say hello afterwards as well. Just to find out a bit more about the sim, about the drivers, and about how they felt about their races tonight. If you want to contact Simraceway directly, their Twitter is @Simraceway. Mine is @LiamJSimRacing. And the Facebook page for Simraceway is facebook.com/Simraceway for all of your news about upcoming content and news regarding competitions and championships, including the Wednesday series as well we've got going on. We've got plenty of stuff planned for 2014, so really could be a big year to get involved in sim racing. But as we look again back to that lounge room, well, Strogafia and Van Panda battle, one that's already caused fireworks. I think you may be able to get tickets to bonfire night at this rate, because the amount of fireworks these guys have had already is enough to make the gunpowder plot seem viable, because Strogafia again is looking in a good position. Lap 19 of 23 now. He was 4/10 faster on a lap that time round, which is very easily something to be quite proud of. Van Panther looks to defend as they go through Hollywood and into Craner's corner. Strog needs to try and get something going quicker. Oh, sooner rather than later. Van Panther's losing time. He's losing downforce as well. He's off the track there. And that battle foul, well, I think that may be over before it's even begun, actually, that battle. Van Panther just made an error. He did not want to fight a hard charge in Strogafia. It's never said no. But I think for now we need to turn our attention back towards that lead battle after Strogafia has got a sudden urge of motivation, a sudden urge of adrenaline, and has gone on a warpath through 5th position. He was 5/10 quicker, as we said last time. He even matched the leader, and Shadow Bounty goes wide for the race lead. Michigan got close. And now with 4 laps to go, things start to get tense. This is where drivers turn into heroes, and heroes can turn into villains. Michigan is really hammering down the pressure. It's been 19 laps of constant pressure, but now someone has just turned the pressure dial and ripped it off the system, because this is through the roof. Michigan is all over the back of Shadow Bounty. If you look at that view looking over the rear wing of the BMW Z4, it is not a pleasant sight if you're Shadow Bounty, that's for sure. It's going to be such a difficult position to keep hold of. All you can do really is drive your own race, isn't it? There's not really much you can do apart from that, but you would love to keep hold of it. It's so hard there when Michigan's breathing down your neck, waiting for an ever-growing error. But Michigan, as I said, he's probably one of the most improved drivers of 2013 if there were to be a Sunday Race-Off Driver Award ceremony. He has done so well this year. He came in, again, he was a bit rusty, wasn't exactly the most consistent driver in the world, but he showed flash glimpses of pace, and now out of nowhere he's become one of the most consistent and one of the most intimidating drivers that Simraceway has to offer. So you take that and you put a prize as valuable and as important as the BTCC tickets in front of him, and this is what happens. A nice Shadow Bounty through Melbourne. He is looking hungry, and now looks to the inside. Shadow weaving around. He doesn't want to let him through. He holds the line into Goddard's. That final corner line, he doesn't want to run deep at all. Lap 21 of 23, 2 laps to go. And things could not get more exciting now. Michigan is all over the back, he's so close. And all you have to do now is wait, see what Shadow Bounty can do. Can he hold on for 2 more laps? It's an important question that demands an important answer. But Michigan has to let his driving do the talking. If he can snatch a victory here, it will be a big statement and a big motivator going into the Lotus 88B round of the championship. But Shadow Bounty wants a dominant victory. He wants to prove he can beat Michigan. He can keep his car in front, and he will not crack under pressure. If he does it once, he might be prone to doing it again, and the other drivers will pick up on that if they re-watch this broadcast. Because whilst it's a different car, it's the same track, same overtaking rules apply, the same corners are there, the same chances. All it takes is one big move from one of these drivers, and it can send the other one into a big demoralisation. And Michigan with a big lunge, and that is cut short as they head on to the penultimate lap now. The 2 leaders will go through Goddard's this time round, and it will be their penultimate. Next time they go round, they will be starting their final lap of the race. Lap 22 of 23 gets underway right now. So Michigan still second, Grivy doing a nice job still in third, Lambda in fourth, Strogafia fifth, Van Mander sixth, Sean, then Jamu, Asa O'Connor up to ninth after overtaking Anxiety, Neptune 11th, Bandito in 12th, and HO6 in 13th, and still Grant Findle in 14th. Shadow Bounty about a quarter of the way around the lap right now. He's extended the gap as well, but Michigan needs a slipstream, and he needs it now. They've already just been through McLean's, time's running out. He needs a big run through this corner, especially in towards that chicane. Shadow Bounty does not make an error. Danger looming as Michigan gets close to 149 miles an hour as he decelerates, and look how close he gets. 2 corners left, one of them being the Melbourne hairpin, the other being Goddard's. I don't think he'll get close enough. Unless Shadow Bounty makes some sort of error, which he doesn't. Bit of a lockup, but that doesn't matter. One more corner, and Shadow Bounty would have led 23 out of 23 laps. Can he hold on? Yes, he can. He just got a straight to go. Shadow Bounty wins the first round of the Donington Championship. No, he doesn't. He's got 1 more lap to go. Sorry, it was the penultimate lap last time round. Now it's the last one. My lap counter was 1 out. So now Michigan has 1 more shot. So unfortunately, apologies there. Miscalculation. But Michigan has got 1 more shot then to try and attack Shadow Bounty. Now the tension builds, and the emotions start to rise for Shadow Bounty. This will seem like the longest last lap of a lifetime. His heart will be going like a trip hammer as he brings it up towards McLean's for what is the final time today. Michigan is so close to him right now. Over the bump they go, down the old Dunlop straight where that tyre used to be. And in towards the chicane. Can Michigan get close? He's nowhere near as close as he needs to be. He needs a good exit. He can't quite find it. He may have handed it away. He's too far back now, surely. I think he's given up on it. Unless Shadow Bounty makes an error now, an uncharacteristic error at that. No, it's not going to happen. Oh, that was perfect cornering as well from that BMW. Driven 23 laps in the lead. And through the final corner, over 200 miles would have been raced, and Shadow Bounty goes across the start-finish line. He knows he's done it. Step and restart to the championship. Shadow Bounty is your race winner. Michigan in a very confident second place. He almost had the win. We'll see how different the race is if he does get his hands on the Lotus 88B. Grivy in P3, very strong result there. I said at the start of the qualifying session, both Michigan and Grivy are going to have very strong races. Both drivers ended up on the podium, so hey, I got a prediction right for a change. Lounger finishes P4, Strogafia P5, Van Panda in 6th. Good result there considering the battle he had. Sean 24 is going to finish 7th, Jamu in 8th, Asa Recall on 9th, Agvarti 10th, Nete in 11th, Bandito 12th, 13th, AGO 6th. And for the first time tonight, all 14 finishes